Hi there, everybody. It's Watto here from Tilton Talk Show. Birmingham City's number one vlog, and I've been talking about football in the 60s, and particularly pertaining to blues. But yeah, this is part two. If you haven't seen part one yet, I suggest that you do that, basically. And yesterday I talked about what it was like as a 10 to 14-year-old kid going on the bus to the match with my dad and all the rest of it. But I'm going to be a bit more specific now. Now, if you said as a football team that 1956 obviously got to the semi-final of the FA Cup and the final, 1957 got to the semi-final of the FA Cup, 1958 got the semi-final of the Fairs Cup, 1959 didn't do much, but the Villa got relegated, so that counts. 1960 got to the final of the Fairs Cup, obviously the semi-final and the final. 1961/2 repeated that, got to the semi-final and the final of the Fairs Cup, and in 1963, rounding that off, we won the Football League Cup against some tin pot outfit from over the road. Now then, that does not sound like an unsuccessful football club. So there's me as a kid thinking Birmingham City are the greatest thing since sliced bread. Every year, you know, we're on the... But at the same time, we spent most of that time after 1956 grovelling around trying to get relegated until finally in 1965 we did. But anyway, let's what I want to really discuss is the everybody's heard Birmingham City. They played in two finals of the Fairs Cup. Now, what did that mean? What was the Fairs Cup? So let's go back 1955-56 season. FIFA, UEFA, and all the people in charge decided that they were going to start a European Champions Cup, okay, for the champions of European leagues. Now, the concept of international cup competitions was nothing new. There, before 1956, there were the Latin Cup, which basically teams from Portugal, Spain, France and Italy played for, and Real Madrid were winning that every year. And there was similar competitions in Austria, Hungary, probably Germany, and so on. So that the concept of international club competitions wasn't a brainchild of FIFA or UEFA or anybody else. No, so they come up with that, and everybody thought, what a wonderful idea, except the British FA, the English FA, who I think they banned Chelsea from being in it, and then Manchester United went in it, and the FA wasn't very happy, and they put pressure on them, and you better be back on Saturday to play Wolverhampton Wanderers. And what happened? They got spread across the runway in Munich, and several of them died. So that was Britain's attitude to European competition. Amazingly, the rest of the continent were pretty impressed, but they didn't know how. Of course, there's only one team from each country going to benefit from this. So, very similar to the Super League that was tried to be started recently, the big clubs in Europe decided that they would create their own competition, and they'd have more than one club from each country. And the idea was, who do we want to have in this competition? Well, obviously big teams from big cities, the Munichs, the Barcelonas, and the Birminghams, and the Glasgows, and the Edinburghs, and Stockholm, and whatever. Don't remember too many French teams, funny enough. But anyway, that's by the by. So they created this franchise system almost. You couldn't get in this competition unless you were a city of a certain standing. And UEFA, FIFA and everybody else had nothing to do with it. You know, it's a free country, free Europe, and we can get on and do this. So that's how that was created. And this Super League that we've talked about in the last 18 months was no different to that. Anyway, because Birmingham was a major city, they got invited. Now, everybody says, "Oh, you didn't qualify for it." But in actual fact, when it started, we were 6th in the table, and had the rules and regulations been the same as then as they are now, then we would have been anyway. And of course, they couldn't kick us out because we kept getting to the semi-finals and finals. So not only were we a major city, we were a major competitor in this private competition. So eventually FIFA and UEFA got their greedy fingers on it, and it eventually became the UEFA Cup and so on and so forth, and the rest is history. But again, going back, I was a young boy of, 1960. I'd have been 9, and I went to see, it was the second game I've ever seen at Birmingham City versus Barcelona in the final of the Fairs Cup, 1960. Now, again, what was that? What was it? Who are we talking about here? Are we talking Barcelona, who was some tin pot outfit that nobody had ever heard of? No, we didn't. Barcelona was Barcelona. They were then and they are now. And Birmingham City were taking on probably the second best team in Europe. And I remember the night well. We couldn't. It was packed. It was chucking it down with rain. Everybody squeezed. The 40,000 that were there was squeezed under the covers, and I couldn't get a spot to see. So I sat on my dad's shoulder and watched this game unfold. Absolutely chucking it down. I remember it like it was yesterday. And what happened? Blues got the fire brigade to water the pitch before, to give them an advantage for all these Spanish, passing their little patterns on the football pitch while we got stuck into them. Unfortunately, that failed really, because basically they played on a pool of water, and the game ended up 0-0. Okay, we went to Barca 4-1. Well, who goes to the new camp and spanks Barcelona? Nobody. Never did then, never did now. Okay, so that kept us in for another year, and the game I can remember the best was the semi-final the following year against Inter Milan. Now, Inter Milan were Inter Milan then as they are now. Massive club in Italy, Championes, and they had major European stars in their team. And the match was played after the season had ended in England in late May. Wonderful balmy evening, and we spanked these dudes. We absolutely spanked them. And not only did we beat them on our own pitch, we went to the San Siro. And this was the thing about Birmingham and their Fairs Cup adventures. Very rarely did we lose an away tie. Very rarely. Usually we spanked them but we went to the San Siro, right? Took on the mighty Milan and beat them. And it was 45 years before an English club won in that stadium. And Arsenal did it. They beat AC Milan. Now, that was my upbringing on football. Because my dad played on a Saturday and I went with him, most of the games I saw for Blues were midweek games. League Cup ties, Fairs Cup ties. the usual midweek. We always seem to play the Albion on a Tuesday night early in the season, and those were packed houses. But I saw most of the stuff that I saw early doors were these continent, and we played a lot of prestige friendlies. Again, and we spanked half the Czechoslovakian side played for Bratislava. They came to St Andrews, beaten 5-1. The Hungarian team that played in '66 in the World Cup with Florian Albert. What a great player he was! He was a world star. Comes to St Andrews, bang, 5-0 on your bike. Now, the strange thing was, I mean, we eventually won the World Cup in the mid-'60s. But to me as a kid, who were my heroes? It wasn't Johnny Haynes and Bobby Smith, even Stanley Matthews. No. My star, my who did I want to be as a kid? Di Stefano, Pelé, Puskás, Kubala. These wonderful continental players. The Hungarian team, Kosciusz played for Barcelona, who played against England in that 6-3 spanking. These were the people that I wanted to copy, not English players. You know, we had some good players in the blue side in the early '60s. You know, but I wouldn't have dreamed of buying a Jimmy Harris shirt, you know, or a Ken Leake shirt. Anyway, Terry Hennessy I might have done. You know, I wanted these world stars that turned up at St Andrews to play the blues. That was what turned me on. Okay. Thanks for watching. As I say, this is part 2 of a little series that I'm doing because there's no football. There's no Birmingham City football. England have finished their 2 games now. Yes, we've won them both. Yippee. You know, Saturday, 3 o'clock. Who we playing? Blackburn Rovers. I bought my train ticket today. We're off to see the boys in blue. God bless you.